Wonderful. Awesome. We got a few people hopping on this morning. Today, I'm really, really excited about this one. We got tons that Brywan and I are going to go through to get your brand from 0 to a million as fast as possible. I've been seeing posts out there on X recently about, what I would do or, what the best brands are doing that are going 0 to a million. I think what I'm noticing when I see other people out there talking about this is that a lot of them are talking about very small sample sets, right? In this sort of like 0 to a million. At SCC, we have massive amounts of sample sets of what is working, right? And really the strategies to go from 0 to a million as fast as humanly possible on the platform monthly. And so we're going to be talking about that from the trenches. Brywan and I have been in this for a long time since the advent of TikTok Shop in the US. We have been working on this. I just got off a mastermind call. We'll throw in, actually, Larissa, if you could throw in the link to apply for the mastermind. It is just absolutely incredible. The nuance that we're able to go into on that side. Today, the real goal for us is to give you guys tools to be able to use for your specific TikTok shop. The best possible compliment for us is if you take this afterwards and share it, right? Share these ideas. All that we want is good information out there. There's a lot of brands that have lost a lot of money on this channel, have given up on this channel. The problem is I really do see this as a singularity type moment, that there is a before social commerce and after social commerce in this world right now. And there's going to be a lot of brands that are going to be left behind in this. Will they still be able to survive? Probably. But I really think that the brands that are going to thrive are going to understand this. So what we're doing today is we're going to be going through multiple different topics on some of your burning TikTok shop questions that will help you run this better for your brands. At the end of the day, like, our entire goal here is to help you guys. So without further ado, Brywan, why don't you go ahead and get us started?
Yes, and this is going to be a fun one. We base this off of the real life questions that we get sent, which obviously makes this a little bit more tailored to you, the audience. So hopefully, as Jordan mentioned, you get value from this, so much so that you are sharing it with your friends, with your colleagues. So the first thing that we get asked, and it's a little bit back to basics, but you cannot build a house without a strong foundation. And it is, how do I pick a hero SKU? And the buzzword of today is going to be objective, be data driven, be analytical. Every single brand owner, every single marketer has a product that they really want to push. They want it to be their hero, but maybe it's unproven. Lean into the data. So, first and foremost, you're going to want to look at this again objectively. What is going to have that impulse purchase potential? What is a product that as soon as someone sees it, they're going to say, I need that. They're not going to have to think too hard about it. They're not going to have to do a whole heck of a lot of research. It has that impulsivity purchase lever that we want to be pulled. The other piece is, does it have visual demo value? This is incredibly important because as a brand and as us who work on brands, our job is actually to sell to creators. It is their then job to sell to the end consumer. So think about, is this going to look good on camera? Is it going to have some demo aspects to it? Are they going to be able to do an unboxing? Is there before and after? Is there like a really nice texture, a clear wow moment? If the answer is no, then that's probably not going to be a product that you want to lead with. And leaning into the creator side of things is, does it give the creator enough, I'll say, juice to make content out of? Is it a product that has one single focus that doesn't have a lot of clear angles that people could try? You want to make sure that they're going to have the ability to make multiple pieces of content. You're not just going to be flooding the algorithm with the same thing every single time. The fourth is going to be the strong price point. This is very, very important. And Jordan, every time you lean in, I know you want to add something here. But previously,
I have so much to add. Like, I had to mute myself because I was like, oh, let's let Brywan talk for a second here.
I know. Don't worry. I'll let you jump in after this one, because something that really, I think, early days TikTok shop, people thought the product had to be $50 or under. That was what was going to
$30, actually. That's what the
even
majority
lower.
of like gurus were like preaching, this $30 thing, and we're like, well, we have a brand doing 45 million a month, and interesting, their AOV is like between 80 and 100. So, well,
Yeah, that the sweet spot is now like the low end 25, sure. It is going to be a little bit more difficult as far as like you need to sell a lot of volume in order to make a lot of revenue, obviously. But like up into $150, and there's certainly brands over that price point that are crushing it. Creators love higher price point products. So long as it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg on like the cost to actually get enough samples out there, you can absolutely win with higher price point products because they make a higher commission off of it. Jordan, I'll let you jump in on that one.
Yeah, so a couple of things that I just wanted to say here that I think is really interesting, and I want you guys to get the learnings from this on, is brands that are coming to us right now at SCC are actually coming with specific TikTok Shop products in mind already. So big brands, recently a big bag brand came to us, not Portland Leather Goods, someone else. Came to us and said like, hey, we specifically want to figure out what the TikTok Shop product is going to be. That's a really important thing to be able to do, right? Like that's a really important thing if you can either take an existing SKU, and we've seen this in the past too with big brands that we've worked with that actually had SKUs that they didn't think they weren't performing well on any channel, and they're like, just can you sell it on TikTok Shop? We're like, sure, we can try. And it ended up being their biggest SKU now. And this is like massive brands. So just know that this platform is built, the content portion of this is built for virality. I was just talking about this on the mastermind, actually, where somebody was asking like, hey, why every time that I put a shop link in my post, I suddenly am like not getting any reach, right? And the issue is, right, that TikTok Shop, just because your content may go viral, right? Your shop is inextricably linked. Your shop health score, everything to do with your shop is inextricably linked from your TikTok Shop content itself, right? So if you are and this is why like creators have a hard time with this, right? When they're like, yeah, do I really want to like risk it on this brand that isn't doing much? Really important to be able to know that. This all starts with the hero SKU. It's so ridiculously important that you're picking the right hero SKU. Now, look at a brand like Shark Ninja and look and see what they have done. Kind of crazy, right? Like $200 AOVs with the Ninja Creamy, and yet they're doing just fine. So does the price point matter? I would actually say it's more the value proposition that matters than anything. I think that's really important. So those are a couple of the things there. Brian's going to get into inventory depth. It's wild how much that actually matters, guys. Like, so much so. Like, if you're going to get something from this, is like, whatever we're going to launch, let's make sure we actually have it in stock. Because if not, you are going to piss creators off. Like, absolutely. They are going to be so mad if they are selling your product and they're making a ton of money. And they're like, this is my next massive, massive brand that I'm going to work with. And then suddenly you run out of inventory. They're going to be so mad. And it's going to take you longer than it took you to first launch to get that momentum back. I will let you know because creators don't want to work with you at that point. So, all right, that's my lean in, Brian.
And no, and that was a good segue because you mentioned something about performance scores, shop health scores. When deciding your hero product, please take your reviews into consideration. If you have a product that has either very little reviews or a lot more negative reviews than positive, if it's under 4.5 stars and you move it to TikTok, people are very, very brutal on this channel where they absolutely will review a product. Every single negative review is going to impact your shop performance score. And the lower your shop performance score, the less levers you have to pull. You will lose access to GMB Max and advertising. You will lose access to your affiliate center. You want to make sure that you can stand behind the product because this is not a channel, and certainly not like it was in the beginning, where you could get away with having I'll say a shoddy product or a product that the masses won't like. So make sure that your review strength is good, and then make sure that the creators are accurately portraying your product. Make sure that the buyer is getting exactly what they paid for and they're not being misled by false narratives from creators. Very, very important. And then specifically on the inventory depth, yes, I think you hit the nail on the head. We have actually had several clients where we did such a good job that they ran out of inventory and they had to pause until they got more in. So when you're actually setting up your shop first, make sure you have enough inventory to actually sustain a viral moment. You want to keep creators happy, but also that's probably the product you're going to be known for, and you want to be able to continue using all of that amazing content for long enough into the future until you have your next breakout product moment. When you're thinking about the inventory, definitely look at how long it takes for you to get a restock of that inventory and make sure that that's built into your timeline and have reviews and checks and balances built in internally. So you know if you hit a certain milestone, okay, take 60 days to get new product in. This is the day we're going to have to reorder. You want that in ready to ship before you need it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say, sorry, we have a million questions on the side here. Awesome. Love it. Thank you, everyone who's live right now. For those of you guys watching on YouTube after, just know we are going to get to all of the questions at the end here. Brywin and I really like to answer these questions individually. So we will try to get to every question that's here. There's some absolute gold in there. So just hold on. And we're going to get through some of this first because I think there's some really valuable stuff we don't want you to miss here. This is so important, guys. This is the foundation of your TikTok shop, right? Choosing the right hero SKU is so incredibly important. Now, remember, you don't have, like, it's not like you have to spend like a year like researching and being like, should I do it, right? Really, at the end of the day, there's going to be an investment for your hero SKU. Just know that these are the check marks. If you check off all of these, if you check 5 of 6 on this, it's really important. Now, the ones that I would make sure, like beyond anything, make sure that are on there is creator content ability, visual demo value. Those two matter more than anything else. Like if I had to choose two, that would be great. Impulse purchase potential, yeah, sure. Like it's a nice to have, but like you're probably going to then sell that product off channel, right? Like that's cool, but like those two, creator content ability and visual demo value, matter so much, right? Like if ChatGPT can come up with like 300 use cases of your product and you can make a video on every single one of those, awesome. That is the best kind of product out there, and is just going to create amazing content. So that's that there.
Awesome. Thank you, Larissa. Thank you. So we sort of baked this slide into the first one with all of our explanations. So we'll breeze through this one. Definitely take a screenshot, but make sure you understand what actually makes a TikTok shop hero product stand out. So you want to make sure the creator economics do make sense. You want to be able to make sure that you're offering a high enough commission that is going to excite creators, make them want to take time out of their day to say yes to your product, especially if you're just starting out and maybe you don't have a lot of traction yet, you don't have a lot of sales where they're going to be looking that as a strong indicator of something that they should be interested in. So make sure you're able to be competitive, but it's not bleeding you dry at the same time. So pick hero products that have margins that will survive and thrive with a higher creator commission, especially in the beginning. Listing readiness is a non-negotiable. If you were on the last couple of sessions, we've talked about listings a lot. You have to make sure that your listing is primed for conversion, that it answers all of the questions a consumer might have. You have a strong title, you have strong listing images, you are what we call internally stacking the PID if you offer multiple variants. They're all on one listing, so that way people don't have to leave one listing, go to another just to cycle through the different color options or sizes that you may have. And just make sure the operational readiness is there. So you must have your commission set, your inventory must be resilient, images must be creator ready. You just have to have those foundations laid. Perfect, Larissa. Carry on. So again, another slide that you're going to want to screenshot here is how do you actually select a hero product? As Jordan said, please do not take a year doing that much in-depth research where you're actually slowing your progress onto the channel. This is something that certainly someone that is close to the brand, someone involved in analytics, going to be able to pull the data for you very quickly. If you're like most companies now, you have everything connected to either Claude, ChatGPT. You can pull everything into one place. But you're first going to want to look at your current demand. And this is going to be different depending on how many products you actually offer. If you're a brand that has thousands of SKUs versus a brand that has, maybe 3 core products, your decisions are probably going to be made a little bit easier for you. But
I just want to step in for one second,
yeah,
Brian.
absolutely.
I what I really believe the best place for you to look is if you are on Amazon, your top selling Amazon products are going to fit really nicely over and be a lot more portable over onto TikTok Shop rather than your D2C products, right? So, again, interesting strategies is holding off. Like, I love to have these channel strategies where each channel gets to have a specific product. We used to do this when we had a mobile app with one of the brands that we owned. And so we would only launch a specific product on the mobile app to try to get people over to the mobile app. The same thing, right? Like, try and keep I go higher AOV over on the .com, right? And that's where you're going to like create all the loyalty and you're going to create the brand over there. TikTok Shop is this incredible top of funnel. So think about that when you're like looking into your hero product selection. Like, okay, so like what is that product? What is that entry point product that's going to get somebody into my brand? Entry point does not need to be an entry point price. I think that I want to make sure that you guys understand that. Like, it's an entry into the brand itself. How does somebody get to like, know, and trust your brand? And what is the product that they're going to be looking at to do that? So that's what I wanted to make sure that you guys understood.
Such an important distinction. The like, know, and trust. I feel like I've heard you say that so many times at this point in time, but it
There's very few
holds
things
true
that are
for pretty much
important
everything.
enough. Yeah, it just matters so much, right? That like you're figuring out that like how do we get people to like, know, and trust us as a brand and as a person, right? Like, because nobody's going to buy from you or trust you enough to buy your product until you actually get that in, which is why frequencies tend to be going up over time right now, especially with AI, because we're trying to tease out like what is real, right? Like, do I actually like, know, and trust this brand enough to purchase from them? Which again is why referrals matter so much right now, which is why TikTok Shop is so incredible because it's basically this giant referral engine, right? That is why it will win in the world of AI and why I don't recommend AI content. Just saying it again. I fight with my team about this so
Don't
much.
even get me started on sending AI content in New York. If you want to have an ugly disclaimer on your content, that's how to do it.
I would love for you to get started on that at some point.
Maybe if we have time at the end. If not, it will be on the next session because even if you're on TikTok Shop and you think that AI advertising in New York and needing a disclaimer is only a Meta or Google issue, you are wrong, my friend. So we'll definitely put a pin in that one for the next one. So
Crazy.
your process here, I'm just going to run through quickly because we're getting to the meat and potatoes that you're going to see me get very animated and very enthusiastic about. But look at your data, look at your existing demand. Also look at seasonality and what makes sense for launching on the platform with your particular products. Do not launch a thick winter jacket in summer. Don't launch potentially a bikini at Christmas time. Think about the seasonality and what people are into and keep an eye on the current trends and not just the buzz trends, but the trends that companies in your vertical or top competitors are starting that are going to have longevity. I think comfort has reinvented sweatsuits for everybody, but that is certainly something that you want to take into account. Again, filter by TikTok fit and evaluate objectively. I can't say that enough. Just because you love a particular product, if it's not selling elsewhere, if it doesn't have all of the other boxes to check, maybe put that in your back pocket for now. Confirm your margin and commission room. Obviously, you want to make sure that you're entering here at a profitable point in time, or you can at least map out a point when you can get to break even. This is a channel that does require a lot of investment, but you don't want to drain all of your bank just out the gate. Verifying inventory depth, we chatted about that already, optimizing the listing, and then assign a creator strategy. Really lean into how you want to position this to creators, what you think the strongest angles are going to be, and give that to your community without the handcuffs of saying, here's a script. You want them to have some freedom, but you also want to give them some direction. Perfect, Larissa. Thank you. All right, this is the part I'm going to get most excited about. Jordan already knows because this is what I do at Social Commerce Club. With our unified service, I am the bridge between TikTok Shop and all of that amazing content and your more traditional paid ads and D2C levers that you're pulling. So a lot of times with the brands that we're talking to and, brands that we know, they're operating TikTok Shop outside of everything else that they're doing. They're operating it in a silo. And I've seen this time and time again. Even the most robust grade A media buying teams are struggling right now because they don't know what to do with the flood of content that they get from TikTok Shop. They don't have the foundation ready, and then missteps are made. I know a brand that is spending several $1,000,000 a month on Meta, and their biggest issue right now that they continuously run into is not knowing what content they have usage rights to use, using content that they can't actually use, or misusing it and then getting some toxicity in their creator community because of it. So this is all the
Like
stuff we're going to
real,
talk about
like not
today.
not just toxicity, guys. Like I really truly believe that like these horrible, remember these horrible ADA lawsuits, like just again it's funny as Canadians we don't do that kind of stuff. I just want to let you guys know Canadians don't sue people like Americans. What a weird thing. What a weird culture. But the next whatever the weirdness of the culture is, it happens. And I really truly believe we had ADA lawsuits and then there was kind of one in the middle. I'm trying to remember which one that was. But the next big form of lawsuit that will be coming time and time again is from creators. There's going to be lawyers that are going to be getting a hold of creators and being like, hey, I think that this brand is using your creative without a contract. And they will 100% be bringing lawsuits. This is really important. This is what we're trying to navigate right now and why it's taken us a little while to navigate this as a company, because we're trying to figure out how do we make sure to like really get the actual rights to this content and from this creator. It's very, very important. Like this is happening all over the place. Be warned. This is going to happen.
And aside from just lawsuits, it would also ruin your day a little bit, just to say the least. If your top performing ad on Meta that was crushing it, you got a cease and desist and you could no longer use it and you didn't have anything else to replace it. And then that creator doesn't want to work with you and all of their creator friends in your group no longer want to work with you. That will absolutely be detrimental to your brand.
Totally.
So
More than anything.
yeah, it's don't play that danger game, okay, guys? We're not running in traffic today. So that's going to be my new favorite analogy, I think, Jordan. Oh, that's awful. So what I want to talk about next is just the rest of your team. How do you make sure that they're involved in the conversation? So if you are a brand owner, brand manager, or if you're running high efficiency econ teams, make sure that they're talking to each other. So why being ready matters. So there's a lot of opportunity here on the table, obviously. You're launching your blitz, you're launching on TikTok Shop, and you suddenly have this wave of amazing creator content that has already been proven. It's generating GMV, it's high converting. You want to pull that into the rest of your ecosystem because the tide lifts all ships. And we know, especially on Meta, post Andromeda update, volume and variety and native UGC wins. So you want to be able to use that. 10 out of 10, it's an amazing opportunity. And I mean, we very famously had Curtis here, and I think he said that his top performing 5 videos were no longer even in the top 17. As soon as he had TikTok Shop content, it outperformed every single thing he had in his Meta account. And they're spending
Yeah.
millions and millions of dollars. The readiness gap. This is so important. Small teams, big teams, it does not matter. Whatever volume of creator content you're getting, you need to have your infrastructure laid. You do not want to be building this plane as you fly it. So make sure that you're looping in the paid media teams so they understand what to expect, what kind of content they're going to get, how they should run it, and how to make sure that you're actually getting the usage rights you need, and that's baked into timelines. And the key principle here, it just combines the two. You're getting content opportunity. This is now not just a GMV driver. It's not just a revenue driver. It is the new content engine that's going to fuel all of your other marketing efforts. As Jordan said in the beginning of this conversation, we're sure brands who are still doing well without TikTok Shop, they're probably going to still keep doing well. But really what we're seeing is the brands that aren't embracing that content are not growing nearly at the same level as brands that are. So the biggest blitz risk. And when I say blitz, that's just going to be your launch into TikTok shop. We have our own sort of strategy, and I think we've coined the term blitz pretty well at this point. So look back on our other videos if you want a better definition of that. But the biggest risk, and sorry, we know if we're playing bingo, my daughter is going to be in my office asking me to open a bag of crackers. Your biggest risk isn't actually the blitz itself and the investment that you're putting in. The biggest risk is actually not acting on that. So again, there's this opportunity to use this content, and you don't want to be the only person in your vertical, in your industry, that's not leveraging this content. You will fall behind. So where do things go wrong? Where things go wrong are the delay points. Every single step in a process, if it is not followed, does have the potential to delay. When you launch your blitz, you're going to have content that immediately starts flowing out. It can take a couple of days to get usage right, so it might be a couple of days before you have that, couple more days to develop winners, and it just sort of continues spiraling out. If you wait months after your blitz to start using this content, maybe you're getting GMV, maybe you're not. You are 3 months behind at that point in time. Perfect. So this is also very important. We talked about the hero SKU and why it's important when you think about your entire ecosystem, not just TikTok shop, is one of the biggest missteps I actually see some brands make is they have a hero SKU specific for TikTok that is not available anywhere else. If that product or version of that product where you're unable to use that content is not available, whether it's on your D2C, your Amazon, that's going to be a lot of content that you probably can't use or use easily. So you want to think about how can I make this content work for me across my portfolio? So when we talk about TikTok exclusives and ways to incentivize people to purchase on TikTok Shop, you can absolutely make it price focused where maybe it's a little cheaper for them or they get free shipping if they purchase from TikTok Shop. Maybe it's a TikTok exclusive bundle where they have the full size product in a travel size, and that's what's available, and you only sell the full size product on your D2C. That's still content that you can use. But what you don't want to be at the end of your TikTok shop experience is thousands of pieces of content that you can't use anywhere else. That you've now driven so much awareness for one particular product that people are now bouncing from your website. They're not purchasing on Amazon anymore. You want to be able to use that. Jordan,
I
I
I'd,
see
I'd
your
love to.
thinking face.
Yeah, I'd love to just lean in here for just 1 second here. So if you guys have followed me for any amount of time, I actually posted about this on Twitter today too. The whole concept of what you are trying to do on TikTok Shop and all of your channels is have less noise out in the market and more signal, right? And so when you have this SKU clarity, right, all of the signal, it's like a laser beam, right? Like you can either have like the sun, which is great. I mean, the sun's awesome. And it radiates all over, or you can have a laser beam, right? That is going in here. You need to also then choose probably 2 to 3 laser beams to see which one of those is going to be the best, which is why I don't recommend just being like, yeah, we're just going to choose this one. It's like, no, let's start to go down the path of these 2 to 3 hero SKUs, and then let's double down on on this particular one, right? But making sure that it's all signal is really, really important because your creators don't necessarily think about your brand unless you're a really big brand, right? Like they're thinking about the product that they're making a bunch of content for and a bunch of money on. And they get better with that specific product and that specific use case and the problems that it solves and all of that. You're really trying to like get people to like you're going horizontal so that you can then go vertical afterwards, right? That's really, really important on that. And as well, most of you guys watching this probably have massive constraints in the form of time and money, right? Like if you don't, then you're probably not on this workshop today. So that's really, really important as well for me just to throw in there. So I just wanted to add my 2 cents in there, Brian, but this is great.
No, I love it. And I will also just attach a real world example to that where you're sampling out multiple hero products. So there's actually a client that I personally manage that has multiple collections that are going after very specific personas. Person who's buying one specific collection might not be buying the other. We are also running them for Unified. And specifically for the creator content coming out, there's certain products that do get more content because we are sampling heavier into collections that we think are going to work on TikTok Shop. And then specifically what we're launching on Meta, we are discovering what works there, what creator content works there. And sometimes it's different collections than what we were initially pushing most of the muscle behind on TikTok Shop. So it's then pivoting and saying, okay, well, this product that we weren't really expecting to necessarily crush is crushing it. How do we get this in the hands of more creators? How do we get more content out of the people that already have this product? And it allows this just consistent feedback loop that really, really creates a much stronger ecosystem and gives you more points. If we talk about, again, that horizontal versus vertical, we now have more points that we can actually go vertical on, which is really exciting and ultimately what brands should be looking for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. So have a bridge plan. So this is something that is most relevant to brands that are actively running D2C, which I'm sure most of you in the audience right now are. We do have a number of brands that cold start on TikTok Shop and they have to wait for that content to come out before they can necessarily do a big launch on D2C and traditional paid ads, Meta, Google, just so they have enough of that content. But if you're a brand and you're planning this out, sometimes you can be incredibly laser focused on this blitz where it's this thing on this horizon and nothing else matters. And you take the foot off the gas on your D2C efforts because you know you're going to get a flood of this content. Having a bridge plan and making sure that you actually still have a strategy and plan leading up to the blitz is incredibly important. Lean into historic UGC that's worked, lean into whatever is working currently, and do not allow your teams to take the foot off the gas on that foundation. You want to make sure that when you have this injection of creator content, that it's going into an ecosystem with that strong foundation. So that way you're not getting a pause or a lull and then a big spike that you have to work into. You want to make sure that you're climbing up, you have the blitz, and then you're able to grow very, very quickly and scale more efficiently. So I just wanted to have that in there because it is a question I get asked a lot from clients coming in that are actively spending on D2C, have a foundation laid. They always ask, should I pause my D2C efforts before the blitz? And my answer is typically going to be no. Highly encouraged, please don't do that. So leaning into that is understanding what is already working before the blitz. You are going to have this amazing content that comes out, but if you're an established D2C brand, you've already been running UGC, you probably have a pretty good idea of the kind of content that actually works for your brand. Lean into that. If there's any creative patterns that stand out from past UGC that you've done that you think the TikTok shop team and the creator management team should know, so you're baking it into creative briefs, lean into that. You don't have to start cold turkey. And also lean into, well, what products do work? Is there a specific product or collection of products that you want to be sampling so you have more content so that way you are able to scale and grow more efficiently? Lean into that. Also, keep in mind audience signals. I think it's still important to know who is purchasing. But one thing that I really want to double click on here is with the post Andromeda update and all of the recent changes on Meta in particular, you're not doing near as much targeting at the campaign level, at the ad set level. You're allowing the targeting to happen at the creative level. We're big believers in leaning into the algorithm. We do not claim to be smarter than it. And with all of the updates, it will put the right creative in front of the right person. That is where the audience testing happens. But you want to make sure that if you're running Meta, if you're running Google, and most of your audience, the people that are actually purchasing, are 45 plus, tell your TikTok shop team there are 45 plus on TikTok shop. It's actually a large market there. So make sure that they understand creatively and creator wise who should you be leaning into, and make sure that there is a reasonable portion of those people that are making content for you. People like purchasing from people that look like them. I think that's the one thing, regardless of platform, always holds true. And the last piece here is what is the best destination to send the traffic to? If you're not doing landing page testing and destination testing for your own D2C sites, you are leaving a lot of opportunity on the table. So make sure that you understand, what is the top performing location? Is it optimized? Because when I have this creator content, when I have this flood of content, I'm going to want to scale my budgets. I want to make sure where I send them to is going to convert them. So make sure that that makes sense, as well as that the experience is going to be one that emulates, and I hate to say this, emulates TikTok Shop in its best ways. Use that creator content, have that on your PDP, have that on your landing pages. Make sure that it is framed for conversion. Very, very important. Why TikTok Shop works is because it gives people an experience that they can have in 60 seconds or less that is going to end with a purchase. So make sure that the choice architecture on your site matches that.
I just want to step in on here in the audience signals part, and I think it's really, really important to double click into that, just in general. So Larissa and I have been working on a book called The Social Commerce Singularity, and it's all about this idea of sort of the before and after of creators really having the power. But I think that it's actually even more than creators. I really truly believe that, like, if you guys have followed me for any amount of time, like when I had brands as well, we had VIP groups, and it was really interesting. We would get this feedback from VIP groups, and somehow through those VIP groups, we would then be able to be like, oh, this is going to work. Right. And we got the feedback from them. And I really believe that that is all part of social commerce. It's like the idea of social commerce is actually giving the power over to your audience, right? That like you think you own your brand. No, you are birthing a brand into the world, and you are the one that is like taking care of it, right? Until you are shepherding that brand into the world, but other people also see your brand and are like, oh, interesting. What if it could be like this, right? And you're there to shape and mold it. But these audience signals are super important. I've written a whole chapter about this in particular, and with reviews, or sorry, with comments. So comments and reviews are incredibly important. Never hide your bad comments, right? Like on Facebook ads, I'll see this all the time where it's like 330 comments, and you go and click in, and it's like, oh, why are there only 7 comments? Because the rest were negative, right? And if you don't take those negative comments and turn them around into something, you are losing all of your learning, right? Like our core values here at Social Commerce Club are low ego, high agency, and competitive speed. Low ego because we're constantly learning, right? It's like, man, if like when we were first starting TikTok Shop, if we didn't have low egos, we would just be like, oh, we can't do this. Like we're just losing too much, right? And it's really, really important that you get that feedback, you take that feedback, and then make content on that feedback, right? Especially bad comments, man. That kind of stuff goes viral, right? I would like clip a bad comment and be like, yeah, you know what? They might actually be right. Here's why. Here's like what we're doing to solve this. Here's what we actually did to solve that. Oh, they might not actually understand. Clipping bad comments, just absolutely brilliant, the strategy on that. So I just wanted to put that in there. And guys, don't worry, we will have time to get to hopefully most of the questions. There's a million questions on the side. So keep putting your questions in if you guys are watching live right now. I can see a bunch of people on YouTube, on Twitter, and on LinkedIn right now as well. So make sure to throw your comments in, and we'll try and get to as many of these comments as we can. Brian, I'll let you keep going here.
Perfect. So I already touched on this. I do want to make sure, looking at the time, we get to the questions. So definitely take a screenshot of this slide. It's more on where should you send that traffic, because that is something I could talk about for an hour by itself. But where should the traffic land? You want to make sure it's high converting, it's going to match the moment, and then it's going to remove friction. You need social proof. You need a clear offer. Objection handling, as Jordan mentioned, very important. Make sure that that is dialed in. Do some testing. Always landing page testing. It's something we do for our clients every single month, is we're consistently launching new landing pages. They might have a conversion rate of over 6%. Guess what? I'm still going to do testing. It needs to be baked in. So this is very important. And this is where most brands, as I mentioned, are misstepping. You need to make sure that the infrastructure is laid. How are you going to get usage rights for the content? What is that mechanism? We have a wonderful partner that we like to use called Refunnel. It allows for very, very easy usage rights requests, seeing what you have access to, downloading and accessing that content. So you want to make sure that you have that mechanism, whether it's Refunnel, or you're going to be doing it manually, which I do not recommend, go with refunnel. Tell them we sent you. They'll be happy to have you, and you'll be happy to have them. Lean into that. Make sure that you have a plan for this. Make sure that your team is trained on how to identify, do we have usage rights? Do we not have usage rights? Whether that's as simple as someone is downloading them from refunnel, putting them on a Google Drive and sending it to the media buyer, have that dialed in. Also understand, well, what is the lever that I'm going to pull in order to get usage rights from creators that are generating GMV, who aren't going to want to necessarily give usage rights for free? What is my plan for that? Whitelisting is something that we are big believers in, and every brand doing well right now and using creator content is whitelisting. So make sure that you have that mechanism. This is also built into refunnel, but make sure that your team understands how that operates. How do they run whitelisting? What does it mean? How do they optimize? And deeper than that, make sure that you understand, what am I going to offer the creators so that they're going to say yes to giving me whitelisting accents? We are big fans of percentage of ad spend with the way that we set up the campaigns. It is the number one thing you are in control of as a media buyer and as someone that's hand on keys for a brand. You are absolutely in control of spend. What you're not in control of is trusting Meta, especially on platform, to tell you true revenue, true purchases. We know it's going to want to take credit for everything. So there is the potential there that you might be overpaying for sales that are actually being captured by your retention efforts and not necessarily on Meta. The way that I like to frame this up to creators, and honestly, highly recommend you do the same with TikTok, that content, they're absolutely rewarded for people exiting the funnel. They get a commission for GMV. A sale has happened. For Meta, I actually like to position it as, I'm incentivizing you for getting traffic into the funnel. I want to run your content top of funnel, get new people to my website. I'm giving you a percentage of ad spend. You don't even need to convert them into a sale. I want that to happen. That will happen. But I'm paying them at both ends, into the funnel as well as exiting the funnel. And that's something that creators get very excited about. And that's something that's easily tracked in refunnel as well. Jordan, this entire thing is just a plug for refunnel at this point in time. But that's how I would position
I know we
it
should
to
have the refunnel
creators.
team like at least watching this to be like, wow, they're such great partners. This is great. Maybe we should send them a brand every once in a while, you know?
It's don't worry, I'll ping Atif. I'll let him know.
Yeah.
And again, just make sure that the approval layers, it sounds incredibly simple, incredibly base layer. Make sure there's an approval process that everyone knows. If it's not processed, if it's not documented, if it's not systematized, it will break. It doesn't matter if you're getting 100 posts, 1,000 posts, or 5,000. The system will break, and you want to make sure that that happens when you have 5 posts and not 10,000. So please,
Yeah.
please, please, if you take nothing else, build the foundation.
Guys, I think we're gonna pause that there now just because we have so many questions. I want to make sure to get to some of these questions here. You're gonna have to just come back to the next one for more and more of this. Really, like, I hope you guys understand, like, we're not holding anything back when we do these workshops. Like, these workshops are meant for you guys to be like, oh, sweet, I can learn all of this stuff that SEC knows and does, and then go do it for yourself, right? Our goal, the reason why we do these workshops, is to put out as much information as possible so that one day when your brand is the right size and you're like, yeah, I need to find a partner, that you come to us. Right. So that's like the whole point for us, is just, again, to build like, know, and trust with you guys, giving you guys the best possible information. So we are going to get to some of these questions here. When you are launching a new brand, how do you know, and I'm going to try and put these up here. How do you know which script or hook you should follow since you have no data? I'm going to take this one, Brian.
Go for it.
So because you have no data, well, you might not have any data, but I will tell you that your people in your niche have done this before. So always look and find somebody in your niche who has done this before. The best possible way to do this is Fastmoss or Calidata. We actually get all this through the MCP that Reacher has, which is really cool. So I really, really love that. I would go and look at competitors, right? So I'd look at competitors, see which competitors are doing really, really great work, then go and steal their scripts and hooks and make them your own for your particular brand. Look at adjacent categories as well. I think that's a really important thing is like, oh, this brand did really well. Like if you're in, like some sort of like body care or something like that, go look at like a totally different niche and be like, hey, which one of their hooks seem to work here? And try it out for your brand. The thing to get to quality, you have to get to quantity. So that's the really, really big thing there. All right. Let me just see here. Noah just says, keep testing with as much content as possible until you find what works. Do it yourself, improve. Like, I just wanted to, Noah, I just had to put this up here because I think it's really important. Somebody asks, is there going to be a replay? Yes, absolutely. We try to put these onto, these go into the podcast as well, by the way. So if you guys are not following the podcast as well, we have, I was just looking last month, 25,000 downloads on Spotify alone. I'm like, what in the world? So this goes on to that, and hopefully it's super helpful there. Here's an agency question. I love answering agency questions. How do you handle client expectations who have a very high expectation of affiliates and believe that they will get influencer aesthetic? Such a good question, Brywen. You tackle it first.
Oh, man. So first and foremost, setting expectations starts in the beginning. The entire conversation, you have to make sure that you're not overselling TikTok by itself. And then when it actually gets into the creators, the way that we explain this is these are real people making genuine, real, authentic content. You are not going to get your traditional Instagram, perfect aesthetic, that type of creator content, and nor do you want it. These are people that want to sell to other real people. Lean into that. The best content on the platform is not going to be the most polished. Taking that content and using it elsewhere, it's not going to be the most polished. What you're looking for is real, authentic, where you can tell the person on the other side of the camera actually uses the product, likes the product. If you go back to Jordan's like, know, and trust, this applies to creators as well.
Totally.
So what I would very much recommend is set the expectation that you're going to look at some of this content and these creators and say, oh, well, it's not perfect, it's not polished. Lean into that. You can absolutely say, hey, I'm asking you to trust me. You've given me this sort of small group that you want to emulate. Sure, I will do that to the best of my ability for a couple of creators and make sure that you get some content that you can post to your organic Instagram that matches the brand. But you then want to really lean into the real, the authentic, and show them videos that others are doing for top competitors. I can promise you it's not going to look Instagram perfect and Pinterest ready like old school influencer marketing. The other thing is let them know what you're going to do to make sure that the quality of content is as high as possible with the creator briefs. Show them the creator briefs, get them to sign off on them, and get them just to a state of understanding of what you're asking for and if there's anything that needs to be avoided, how that's going to be baked in.
It's a really big mindset shift. This is why I wrote the book, The Social Commerce Singularity, is for CMOs of big brands that are like, how do I do this? Because I think the biggest objection we get when we work with really big brands is like, well, do we get to approve the content? Like, no, you don't. You don't. You can't. Right. And that's the point. You're actually giving the power to the people to create the content for you. And that's really hard for a lot of top down kind of advertisers. Right. And it's not because they're dumb. Right. These brands got to a place for a reason. But times have shifted, right? We're now putting the power into the creator's hands, and that's really difficult for a lot of brands. I'm going to get to the next question here. If we are just starting out and we're paying smaller creators to make 4 videos each for us, thinking 2, we share the format to copy based on what seems to work on Calidata, and then 2, just with some guidelines. But any insights, since we don't know what format works for us best for virality and sales? Brittany, great question. You want to take this one, Brian?
Yeah, I think the name of the game here, and this is very limited information. You need scale. If you're only working with a couple of creators, you're not going to get enough at bats to truly be able to tell what is going to work for your brand. So I would actually ask you very directly, like, how many samples are you sending out? How many creators? You do want to have a mix. Like your smaller creators are probably going to make the most content for you, and you're going to be able to get some, leading indicator information from that. but you do want to have some medium and ideally a couple like into the larger creators as well that have proven themselves to make content that converts. So I asked you more questions than I think I've answered, but you want to have more than 2 angles or 4 angles. Give at least 3 to 5 different video types to make. And if I'm working with smaller creators and I'm paying them, I want at least 10 videos a month minimum from them if it's a smaller group that I'm trying to just get content from and test content angles.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep that answer there. Kev asks for later, curious about AI creators. Oh, great. I'm gonna take that one. Does AI content work? Yes. Do I like AI content that mimics a human? No. It's not the world I want to live in. I have been very vocal about this. I'm going to be even more vocal about this over the years. I don't think it's good. I think it creates an internet zero. I think that it's something you can take advantage of right now. So if you want some quick wins, go for it. There's a bunch of like ones out there that are doing it. I've had a bunch of sponsors reach out to me about that, and I just say, no, I don't believe in it. I don't like the idea. I just don't like it. Like, why? Yeah, there's so many reasons that I don't like the idea of us using AI to pretend to be a human and creating this. I've seen like there's some Gary V takes sometimes that I'm like, I'm just not into that. It's not my human principles, and because he's really big on like everyone's going to own their own AI influencer, and it's like I don't like it. So that's that, Kevin. Could it work? Will it work? Probably today, yes. Would I
Just
look
one thing
back
I
on
would
my deathbed and be happy about the fact that I did that? No.
Just one thing that I will add from a legality standpoint is New York at the beginning of this month released a law that if you have content, video, static, does not matter, that features a synthetic person, AI person, etc. It must have a clear disclaimer on the image that is very bold and in your face, basically.
Yeah.
So if there's any chance of that content being shown to a New York audience, then you need to make sure that that disclaimer is there across the board. And
There's
from
going to be
my
so many lawsuits. So many
yeah,
lawsuits.
and from my experience, if once something rolls out in New York like this, when it comes to advertising, California is not far behind.
Yeah.
In 6 months' time, I think that most of the states you want to advertise in are going to require this disclaimer. And any
Even like look at
disclaimer,
Texas's
yeah.
SMS law. You're like, oh, Texas? Like, so
Yeah, and any disclaimer is going to discourage conversion. So
yeah.
lean into real.
Maggie has a good question here. We had a hero product that went viral, regular shaker packs, but we launched a new product, electric shaker, and it became the new hero and went viral harder than the previous one. Now creators prefer to post that new product, but here's the issue. Since we are new, we ordered thousands of units of the previous hero product for fulfilled by TikTok. Now that hero's order volume is drained because the new hero product went out of stock. How to forecast inventory properly and how we can make previous hero the best seller again. This is the ecom conundrum right now. Like this happens so often. And I don't know if there's a good answer, to be totally honest. Like, I think that this is where you need to become the best salesperson for your product and for your brand. And you just need to sell this hard to the creators. I think giving them some extra incentives. I probably wouldn't make another order of that one. So I would order the new hero product, right? So look at, so in the world of AI, this is the most incredible thing. I wish when I owned my brands that we had AI, because ChatGPT 5.5 or Claude's newest model that hasn't been ripped from the shelf. I think it's Opus 4.8. It's just so brilliant when it comes to looking at your order velocity and your need to order. So just pack as much context as you can into. I use 5.5 ChatGPT constantly. I still think it's the smartest model that's out there right now. I would just pack everything and as much context as you can into that and ask it to forecast for you based on different channels and some of these different ideas. I would then order your new hero SKU, right? I would do your new hero SKU, and then I would try to drain the rest of the old one, right? So you didn't know this was going to happen. Maybe you've got 2 hero SKUs. That's the other option too. Maybe it's just 2, right? And you can try and get creators on that, but you're gonna have to incentivize them to push the product that they don't want to push as well, and just be a really good salesperson to them. Brian, you want to add anything?
I mean, get creative with content angles. Is the regular one that I don't have to charge or plug in, is that one the one that I'm bringing to the beach? Can we lean into seasonality? There's something to be said about analog that people really do like. So lean into that, lean into the incentives, lean into the challenges and compensation for the creators, and have your VIPs, the ones that you know can move product, encourage the rest of the community to post. Make them a cheerleader, make them excited, and they will excite the masses, and
Yeah.
that's gonna really help.
I've got a fun question here I'm just going to skip to. Do pro seller or star seller badges actually make any difference in your opinion? Yes. I'm sure you guys all know the idea of when one person, it's like that phenomenon when one person like looks up to look at something that like all the rest of us do it. It's what we need as humans. So when I first started running ads, like in like 2015 or 2016, what I would do first is actually run an engagement ad to get as much possible social proof onto a single image as I could, because that's what we're working really well. It was at the time it was for a baby clothing company, and it was flat lays that worked really well, and we would get as much social proof on it as possible. Then we would run it after that, and only after that, as a conversion ad, right? Because people want to know that other people are into it. Same thing, right? With pro seller badges and star seller, like anything that makes you look good and better. That's why, like, whatever award you can accept. So if you're an agency, it's like, accept the award. Just whatever you can do to get third party. It's the way that Google SEO works, right? It's like, well, this amazing publication, Forbes said something about me, thus it gives me more clout, right? It's never you telling you, right? It's like whatever you can get third party to say good things about you, do it. So that's good. Guys, I am so sorry. We have run out of time for all these questions. We're going to have some more time next time. And we'll go through this and potentially, I'm actually thinking I might just go ahead and take all of these questions. I'm going to download the TXT file of this, and I am going to make a podcast episode on ones that we did not get to, a podcast and a YouTube episode on ones that we didn't get to, so that you guys can watch that, because there's some really, really good stuff in here. So thank you, everyone. Brywen, you brought it today. You absolutely brought it. It was awesome. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around. And it's amazing, all of the questions that were on here. And I will try and get to those in a fun AMA episode right after this.
You should also put that on Reddit.
Great. Larissa, you got it. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
See ya.